Class today to do an explanation for how we would do the general journal for one of the questions that we've done already. So I'm just doing question 3. I don't think I have any videos on that one. So I'm just going to talk you through. I'm not going to put anything on the screen. I'm just going to leave the question on the screen. I'm going to talk you through how we should do the rough work for this. So for the first one, coffee table sold on credit to a debtor. So I'm just going to quickly check what type of business is this person in. So if I go at the top of the question, it says this person is a furniture wholesaler, so therefore coffee tables is something that they would normally buy and sell, so that would be purchases or sales. It wouldn't be furniture equipment, which was what we would have to use if that wasn't this person's business. So it was put on the wrong side of debtor's account and credited 1-3 in the furniture equipment. So what I'll do first is I'm going to do what should have happened in the first place, and then I'll cancel the thing we did so wrong. So sales and debtors is what I should have used when I sell goods on credit. So sales is an income, so therefore I should credit sales 2-3, and I should debit debtors 2-3. So that's that bit done. Secondly, then we have to look at what did we do so wrong, and I'm going to cancel that. Well, I just said that we should have debited debtors, and I'm told we credited debtors. Instead, we put it on the wrong side as the wrong amount. So the credit of the debtor's account would be the wrong side to put it on. So that's what we did do. So I'm going to put a debit in debtors to cancel the thing we did wrong of 3-2. It was credited as 1-3 in furniture equipment, so I'm going to debit 1-3 in furniture equipment, and I'll spot that. That means that I would have 4,500 in my suspense account. And that would have been in the credit side, because I would have been too much on the credit side for suspense. If you're not sure, again, I'm trying to do this in my head. What you do is you look at the numbers that you have in the debit and credit columns, and the difference is where the suspense is. Next, check paid to landlord for rent of business premises, £4,000 for 16 months, and not enter the books. So I have to have a credit in bank of £4,000. Now this question, there was a printing error. I think 16 months should have read 15 months. But anyway, we have 3 months that are prepaid into next year, and the remaining figure is going to be an expense of this year. So 3/16 of £4,000. When you work out the maths, I think it was 750. So 750 is going to be in the a prepaid, which is debit, which is an asset. And the remaining 3,250 is going to be an expense used up this year. So that's going to be debit. Expenses are debit. Next one. Cullen sent a check 600 to a creditor in full settlement of a check of a debt of 630. So that means there was a discount given at the time. And remember, I'm Cullen. I sent the check, so it's a discount I would have received, which is an income. Now, the check was returned dishonoured by the bank, and then Cullen paid the creditor 100 cash. No entry made for the dishonoured check or the payment of 100 in cash. So I'm going to put a minus in cash, which is a credit in cash for €100. And then the dishonoured check. So I originally wrote a check of €600, which would have been a minus. And when that check was bounced, as in my bank said there was something wrong with it, like a signature was wrong, then I have to put it as a debit. So I originally put it as a credit, but when the check was cancelled, it becomes a debit. Now, I had a discount received of €30, which is an income. That would have been on the credit side, because income's on the credit side. And when that income is cancelled, I have to do the opposite. So I put a debit for interest received. And then I have to say that I owe that person, I have to reinstate the debt that I owe to that person. So I used to owe them 630. I've just paid off €100. So now I reinstate a debt of 230. Sorry, not 230, of 530. 630 minus the 100 that I paid him. So that's going to be reinstated, and that should balance out. Next one, 4. Cullen returned furniture bought on credit for 8.4 from a supplier. It was entered as the wrong amount, so 10 grand too much in the relevant accounts, and then other problems happen. So I'll deal with that bit first. So I put 10 grand too much in the account. So when I return furniture, it's purchases returns, and the people who I owe money to are creditors. And I put too much purchase returns, so I would have had a credit in purchase returns, because purchase returns is an income account because it cancels an expense called purchases. And creditors, I have less creditors, I owe them less money, and I would have put that in the debit and the creditors account. But I put in far too much, so I need to do the opposite and take 10 grand out of both. So I need to credit creditors with 10 grand, and I need to debit purchase returns with 10 grand. Next, we had the €100 for the restocking charge. Well, what I'll do is I'll just do what I should have done. So I should have had a new expense called restocking charge, €100 debit, and a credit in creditors, meaning I owe them more money. It says the only entry made was a credit of 44 in creditors, so I just cancel that. So I'll do a debit in creditors of 44, and that means if the only entry made means that my trial balance wouldn't have balanced, so I'll have to do the opposite, or a credit in suspense because of that. So I'll say it again. The first part is we had 10 grand too much as purchase returns and creditors, and that would have been a minus in creditors, would have been debit, so I need to take away, which means adding, so creditors 10 grand, that means that we'd have to debit purchase returns 10 grand. We'll do the restocking charge, so that's €100 debit in restocking charge and credit in creditors, and then we need to cancel the fact we did a credit in creditors account, so I'll debit creditors 44 and credit suspense 44. Finally, a private debt owed to Cullen offset against a business debt of 450 owed by Cullen. So the relevant debt here is the business debt. So we're cancelling a business debt, and this is a business debt owed by Cullen. So we owed money to somebody else. Instead of the business paying for it, the owner paid for it through his gambling debt or whatever. So that's capital. He's putting money into the business. So we have creditors is going down, which is a debit, 450. Capital, well, the private debt of 400 is capital. That's what he's putting in. And the business has been let off 50 of a discount. So the capital is credit, is always credit because capital is a liability. And we have a discount that we are receiving of €50 for cancelling the debt. So that discount is going to be an income, so therefore it's a credit entry.